Okay, so here are some more complicated sorts of number patterns and a technique to analyze them. So when we encounter a number pattern, there are 3 steps that we follow in order to analyze that pattern. First, we figure out what we need to add at each step. Then, if the pattern is not yet obvious, we look for what we multiply by at each step. And then, if the pattern is still not obvious, we try to find a pattern in those numbers. So let's apply that to this number pattern. First, we want to look for what we add at each step. So to go from 2 to 5, 5 minus 2 is 3. To go from 2 to 5, we add 3. To go from 5 to 10, we add 5. To go from 10 to 17, we'll add 7. Now, maybe the pattern is obvious to you at this point. If it is, great. If not, we'll continue the process and then it'll jump out at you. So second, we want to look at what we multiply by. So what do we multiply 2 by to get 5? 5 divided by 2, that's actually not very interesting. It's just 5 halves. Or maybe 2.5 is what we want to call it. What do we multiply 5 by to get 10? Well, that's a little bit better. We multiply by 2. What do we multiply 10 by to get 17? Well, that's really not very interesting, is it? That's 17 tenths, or 1.7. So 2.5 to 1.7, yeah, there's no obvious pattern there either. Now, from here, if there's an obvious pattern in one of these sequences, that's what I'm going to go for. Otherwise, I'm going to go back to the addition because addition is easier. I'm going to look for a pattern in the numbers that I'm adding. To go from 3 to 5, I add 2. To go from 5 to 7, I also add 2. Oh, you know what? I bet to get the next number, 2 more than 7 is 9. I'm going to add 9 to my 17. That's 26. And then 2 more than 9 is 11. I'm going to add 11 to my 26. That's 37. How should we describe this? At each step, the number we add is 2 higher, maybe. So at the next step, we would add 13, and then 15, and then 17, and so on. Okay, we know what that pattern is. Let's try another number pattern and see how we would continue it. Let's look at what we add first. Well, to get from 2 to 2, we don't add anything. And then to get from 2 to 4, we add 2. To get from 4 to 12, 12 minus 4 is 8. Oh, well, that's kind of going off the rails. And then our next number is 48. 48 minus 12, we add 36. Okay, no obvious pattern there. Next, we want to look at what we're multiplying by. Well, to go from 2 to 2, we multiply by 1. And then to go from 2 to 4, we multiply by 2. To go from 4 to 12, 12 divided by 4 is 3. So here we're multiplying by 3. To go from 12 to 48, 48 divided by 12 is 4. Oh, I think we see a pattern in those numbers, right? The pattern is at every step, the number we're multiplying by goes up by 1. So next we're going to multiply by 5, right, because 5 is 1 more than 4. 48 times 5 is 240. And then the next number after that, we're going to multiply by 6. This is a job for a calculator. 240 times 6 is 1,440. If you can do that in your head, you're welcome to. I definitely used a calculator for that just now. Okay, so this time we detected a pattern in the numbers that we were multiplying by. Sometimes we'll detect a pattern in the numbers that we're adding right away. In this example, let's see, to go from 8 to 11, 11 minus 8 is 3. I add 3. To go from 11 to 6, well, now I'm decreasing, right? To go from 11 to 6, I subtract 5. To go from 6 to 9, 9 minus 6 is 3. I add 3. To go from 9 to 4, I'm decreasing. 4 minus 9 really is negative 5. I subtract 5. And then 4 to 7, 7 minus 4 is plus 3. And then, yeah, 7 minus 5 really is 2. I think we've spotted the pattern, right? We add 3 and then subtract 5. To get the next two numbers, well, we'll add 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. And then we'll subtract 5. 5 minus 5 is 0. If we went another round, we would get some negative numbers, but that's okay. There's no rule that says we can't have negative numbers. Okay, there's one more kind of pattern that we're going to spot here. And that's what we see in this number sequence. When we look at what numbers we add, well, to get from 1 to 1, we add 0. And then from 1 to 2, we add 1. From 2 to 3, we add 1. From 3 to 5, we add 2. From 5 to 8, we add 3. From 8 to 13, 13 minus 8 is 5. We add 5. From 13 to 21, 21 minus 13 is 8. This is a really weird pattern, but we notice it, right? What we see is the numbers that we're adding follow the same pattern as the sequence does. So after 8 comes 13. Next we'll add 13. So our next number is 34. And then after 13 comes 21. We'll add 21. So our next number after that is 55. And we can always keep going because the number we're adding always comes from a couple numbers behind where we're looking for a new number. So this is how we investigate to find the pattern in a number sequence. If you just look at the sequence and you see it, that's great. But otherwise, analyze what you're adding, find that by subtraction. Analyze what you're multiplying by, find that by division. And then if you need to, look for a pattern in those numbers as well.